Hi, my name is Janixa de Jesus, and I have chosen to do option 14, deliver an oral interpretation of literature. I will be doing Edgar Allan Poe's A Dream Within a Dream. Take this kiss upon the brow, and in parting from you now, thus much let me avow. You are not wrong who deem that my days have been a dream. Yet if hope has flown away, in a night or in a day, in a vision or in none, is it therefore the less gone? All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore, and I hold within my hand grains of golden sand. How few, yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep, while I weep, oh God, can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp? Oh God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave? Is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream? I chose this poem to answer question number 1 because I something that I resonated with. I certainly have experienced death and having to grieve, and how it leads you to make questionable decisions and have questionable desires, even as a believer. I believe that's what the subject matter of this poem is about. How we lose loved ones, and how in that process we find ourselves doing and saying and hoping for things that are certainly out of God's order and structure for this side of life. So the content of this poem, I believe, so in the first stanza, take this kiss upon thy brow. This opening line seems almost romantic. However, that's quickly certainly shot down as it's saying in parting from you now. So we're starting to see that we're leaving, and being that it is an Edgar Allan Poe poem, we almost assume that this parting is going to be permanent, not that they're just temporary leaving and then returning. So in line 5, where it says, you are not wrong who deem that my days have been a dream. I believe that this dream is important because I think it stands alone or very separate to the other dreams that we'll reference later on in the poem. I believe that this statement here is a reflection of the narrator and the time that they have spent with this person that they're parting from, that it has been wonderful. It's been a dream. It's been everything that they could ever hope for, to spend time with a loved one. Now in line 6, we have, yet if hope has flown away. We hear that's personification. Hope has the ability to fly away now. And then that is referenced again in line 9, is it therefore the less gone? So it doesn't matter how hope went, when hope went, but it's certainly gone. It's unescapable. And then we see alliteration in lines 10 and 11 with see, seem, and dream, dream. So here, as we shift to the second stanza, here is the climax. We have this, I stand amid the roar. Now we have like this loud. This is kind of like the first time that we're hearing that the poem is provoking you to hear something. We're hearing a roar, a very loud noise of a surf-tormented shore. And here the shore is a metaphor for life. And I hold within my hand grains of golden sand. So the grains of golden sand, that's a metaphor for people. Sand is people. How few, yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep. So this here is a metaphor for the deceased, for the loved ones we have lost, that you can try to gather all the sand that you want, but eventually it's just going to come out of your hands. And then while I weep, I believe that this is a denotation. This is something taken very literal. The narrator here is weeping over the loss of a loved one and knowing that they're not coming back. Oh God, in line 19, as well as in 21, those are onomatopoeias. And again, line 21 is another denotation in that I truly believe the narrator, the author here is asking for their person to be able to be saved, the one that they've lost. I believe that is a literal messaging. Now in line 22, we see another symbol, the pitiless wave. And that is a symbol for death. Death is coming. Death is not prejudice. When it's coming, and it has no mercy. And then lines 23 and 24, questioning if this is reality. So the same thing is basically posed in lines 10 and 11, and then again in 23 and 24. However, in 23 and 24, it's posed as a question this time, adding the word is and then the question mark in the ending of line 24. So it's almost, is this my reality? Is this really happening to me? Now, this sort of led me to understand the overall second stanza. And I truly believe that lines 12 through 24 are the stages of grief. So we have that denial in the last two lines with a question mark. Is this really my reality? Then we have anger with surf tormented shore. We think of a roar, loud noise. In lines 16 and 17, there's the depression of how they creep, the sort of realization that if they're creeping and they're slipping through the fingers, that means that people are dying. You're losing a loved one. There's nothing that you can do. Then acceptance in line 18, while I weep. If you're weeping, you certainly are in a state of mind of perceiving and understanding that you have lost someone, and that provokes you to feel such a pain that you're moved to tears, to weeping. Then we have in lines 19 through 22, we have bargaining. This narrator is asking God, crying out to God, saying, can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp? What can I do? Can I save them? And then I find it very interesting that in the second cry out, the narrator goes from them to one, almost saying, listen, I don't even want all of them, but please, just this one. Please, can I have just this one? Can I save them from death? The pitiless wave. Remember, pitiless wave is death. So I truly believe that this poem is about death and the stages of grief. So question number 3, how does this text meet the criteria of art? Well, Edgar Allan Poe was a poet. He wrote other poems, and I believe that this poem he used almost as a healing tool for the next reader to read and be able to identify themselves and see themselves within it. It's not certain whether or not this poem was written about his specific grieving process and experience with the loss of his wife, but I certainly feel that he knew what it felt like to grieve, and I felt that he wanted to write something in a sort of an empathetic way and cathartic way for others to be able to experience and begin their healing process in their grieving journey. Certainly his peers must have deemed this art as 200 years later. This is not anything that has been forgotten. We are still discussing this. In 2019, here I am reviewing this lyric, this poem. So understanding, as I memorize this poem, to answer question 4, as I kept reading it, I tried to visualize myself standing at a beach, hearing waves crash, the noises that they make, being tormented. This all, as I kept going, sort of revealed to me that these are the stages of grief and what we go through. Certainly, it's difficult to, once you're under the realization of, I've lost a loved one, that's it, I now have to figure out how to live life and continue on without them. It is very much this experience of being on a beach and experiencing that trial and tribulation and just asking and begging God to bring them back. And what can you do? What's in your hands? It certainly was something that was cathartic for me in my grieving process for my sister. And the words in line 12, roar and surf tormented shore, that's an immediate shift, because in line 11, the whole first stanza is very gentle, even thinking of a kiss upon the brow, a soft kiss that you would see in your forehead. It's all very gentle, and then that word in line 12, roar, surf tormented shore, that's the climax, because we see a certain shift within the tone.